Hi, everybody, and welcome to tonight's session of Just a Little Bit, a D&D live cast with a LGBTQ plus cast. I'm Evan. I will be your DM for the night and for the foreseeable future for the campaign. This campaign is set in Obra, a homeworld of my own creation, a magical world full of exotic races, all created by the powerful and ancient architects. We're joining our group of adventurers who find themselves today digging into the missing partner of one Lady Naoko Sashima. They enter her workhouse to discover that something's not quite right in her workspace. They found a magical sword that decided that Calvin was worthy of being carried. They did battle with two strange cyclopean beasts, defeating them while taking a few scrapes. And now we're going to be rejoining them there. At this point, I'm going to welcome everybody to introduce themselves from our cast, just to say hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bandit. I use he, him pronouns, and I play Flip, the owlmare, who also uses he, him pronouns.
I'm Chase. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Calvin, who uses he, him pronouns, and Porkroll, who also uses he, him pronouns.
I'm Joey. I use they, them pronouns. And I'll be playing Thorn of Clan Yana Sofra, who also uses they, them pronouns.
I'm Tay. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns, and I play Twiddlemop, who uses they, them pronouns. I use he.
And I use he, him pronouns. We'll be playing Balin, who uses they, them pronouns.
I use he.
And I use he, him pronouns.
As I was mentioning before, to set us in for tonight's adventure, we join our party as they are working to discover what happened to Naoko Sashima's partner, a floromancer by the name of Meadow, who a week ago locked herself within their shared workspace. And by covering the entire building in this by the name of giant web a week ago locked herself upon trying to enter, the party was asked, it was told that Meadow would require a real apology, not a fake bullshit noble apology before she would allow them to enter. Flip, using the powers of his bardic magic, transformed into Naoko and was able to appropriately apologize so that the barrier would be transformed into on entering. The party discovered that the workspace was full of a number of knickknacks and various collectibles from Naoko's digs. The party discovered in particular, a magic sword set within a giant stone tablet. Upon being pulled from the stone, Calvin was found to be worthy of carrying it, as a voice rumbled within his head. Heading to the next room, they were confronted by two strange arcane beings with large, green eyes and thick, scaled skin. The party was able to dispatch the two beasts, leaving them to always wonder the one question they asked: what is a Twiddlemop? So now we're going to be joining our party day. They ask, what is everybody? You have defeated the creatures. You find yourself in decently good health. And you have what would you like to do? You find yourself
Is the sword still hurting?
So you can feel the intensity of the heat coming off the sword, and it is that very much that when you open an oven and that you can feel the intensity washes over you. A moment after the battle ends, that settles, and you realize that the pressure you felt in the back of your mind also blinks, and you realize that so the sword is no longer doing anything. Also blinks, and you realize that
so the sword is no longer doing the corpse of this one. Also blinks, and look at the group and go, is anyone hurt? Is everyone okay? Corpse of this one. Also blinks, and look at the group and go, is anyone hurt?
I mean,
for those who've forgotten, a bunch of you are not okay.
Yeah, many of us are not.
I think I'm the only one who's.
Hold on, let me see. And Thorn has got how many hit points are you down?
Yes, probably more than you.
If one were to quantify it into a lay on handsable amount, what would one quantify it as?
Probably more than the amount of lay on hands you have.
I have 7 left.
More than the amount of lay on hands.
I mean, I'll give you the 7.
I will happily take 7.
Those things are on you.
Well, sure. It was all those things. Yeah.
Did the fire from that sword hurt you? Next time, before you want to pull magical artifacts out of a stone, you could at least do yourself and the rest of the party a favor and ask me to detect magic on it.
But we knew it was magic.
You did not know what it would do. I'm all for helping, but take the basic precautions to keep yourself safe. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. Valen, you recognize this tone? This is the same voice that Thorn uses when they tell you to take a shield. Like, this is prime. Thorn is worried about your well-being and is going to tell you about it.
I recognize this voice very well.
You also recognize that you usually don't win against Thorn when this voice comes out.
I assume without an identify or the such, there's not much else I can know about the sword.
I will say that you've wielded the sword now, so if you would like to, as a artificer, give me an Arcana check. You can make some informed decision. You can make some informed investigations into it.
Be a 17.
With a 17, you take a moment to look over the sword, and in particular, you stop, take a deep breath, and you reach that same part of your mind that you normally allows you to attach to magical objects when you need to attach to powerful items. And you can feel just the faintest tether in the back of your mind that lets you know that you have now attuned to that item in the process of pulling it, something that normally takes about an hour, if not longer, for you to attune to something. It seems to have immediately kind of glommed onto you. That pressure in the back of your mind is very faint, though, and you get the feeling like the voice you heard before and the pressure you felt while fighting, that's a thing that it's controlling, not you.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be what you can tell using your experience with magical items and sort of your intuition as somebody who's a magic crafter.
The real question is it fancier than my other sword?
Oh, if you take a moment to look at it, this particular sword has the Ashbourne's language scripted all across the blade, kind of running down one side of the blade. It is a double-edged sword, broadsword styled. The entire hilt and crossguard of this look to be gold and has a bunch of embedded jewels on it. If you had to ballpark the value, you're guessing it's definitely going to be worth a lot more than your sword.
If you'd like me to take a look, I'm pretty good at guessing how much that's worth, but I can't give you much more information than that.
I mean, I wouldn't plan on selling it. It's, not technically mine yet.
Flip is just going to kind of eye the jewels on the sword and kind of glance back up at Calvin and be like, that's fair enough. It's a beautiful piece. I have to do what I could to get a hold of it.
Perhaps if we make it out of here alive, you can inquire Lady Naoko about borrowing it. Who did not make Arcana checks I can't remember. Who did make an Arcana check to see what those were? Because I know 3 of us failed.
Meanwhile, I will say that all the 2 of you do, looking around, see that the 2 bodies of those creatures that you fought have fallen to the ground, and there's this bluish-green ichor sort of slowly dripping off of them. The eye of one is closed, the other still open, and it's gone completely glassy.
Does a 14 help me figure out?
Is that an Arcana check to identify them?
Yes.
Yes. So digging into your mind, you are remembered of a particular cautionary tale that's told amongst a number of magic users. These are beings known as Nothics. Most of the sort of rumors and folk knowledge of magic users is that most Nothics are created as a result of people who've done too much tampering with their own body with magic. So they are wizards or other kinds of arcanists who essentially pushed too far and paid the price by becoming these strange creatures. I will say that you know that they have a low-level ability to read the thoughts of others, to basically dig into their secrets. They tend to be intelligent and secretive and obsessed with their now limited intelligence, finding a way of going back to being a wizard or whatever they were before the accident happened.
Okay. Calvin will relay that sort of information, the general feel of weird wizardy things.
I mean, that rumor about them reading minds is true.
Do you think that other people were trapped in here with Nettle? Naoko didn't mention anyone else, but now I'm kind of worried there might be other people here.
I'm not convinced Nettle is even here. But that is a suspicion.
Point of order, about how long has it been since we were outside outside and made it inside, aka since Flip cast Disguise Self.
With your investigation of the previous room and now your time spent looking at the bodies, I will say you've hit the 10-minute mark.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
Is there anything cool in this room?
Which room?
The room that we're in now, besides the dead Nothics?
Give me an investigation check if you're going to look for something other than the Nothics.
19.
19, absolutely. So taking a look at the room itself, the contents seem to be, for the most part, the part of the room that you're in, your character icons are in, is set up like a kind of shabby living room. The chair has long since gone, sort of beat up and old. There is a number of barrels stacked to one side as well as some pots, and there's a number of planter boxes all set along the edges, including one in that back corner that contains a number of large mushrooms. This part of the room seeming just a little bit darker, as though it's to encourage them to grow, several of which are giving off a faint blue light. With your investigation check, I will say that you do find that one of the plants in the top right corner has fruited into these very beautiful, deep purple berries. And you get the little sense that there's something special about them because they are in their own little planter box by themselves, whereas the other one's like a mix of all kinds of different plants.
Valen, what are these things?
Let me see.
You can give me a nature check if you want to try to identify them.
All right. Ooh, only got a 12.
The 12, you kind of take a look at them. You look at them, and you think to yourself, okay, they don't come off as any of the poisonous varieties of berries you're familiar with from your time in the Verdant Weald. You're pretty sure they should be edible.
Does a 17 tell us anything more?
With a 17, you've seen these a number of times working with the druids in your clans amongst the Ashahai. This looks to be a version of Goodberry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Calvin, if you are still hurting, this may help.
There's a total of 5 berries that look to be like ripe and ready to be plucked.
It's a hit point each, right?
It's a hit point each, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen druids grow something similar, though not this color.
Calvin's going to eat 3 berries.
Okay, so you pluck the berries and you eat 3 of them, and you do indeed feel your hit points return, as well as you feel full, like you've had a lovely meal. And you can have 2. You have 2 more that you can feel free to put in whoever's inventory would be interested in them. And I'll say, looking through it, you also can make a nature check if you'd like to try to identify the mushrooms in the top right left corner.
Less good, only a 14.
14, I will say that taking a moment to look through them, there is 2 mushrooms at the very back that are this deep gray in color with these little tiny dots all over it that almost seem to glow with that faint blue light, but it's just these tiny little pinpricks, almost like stars. You know, these are firmament caps, and taking one of them will give you an hour of dark vision.
Ooh. These mushrooms grant one the ability to see in the dark if they do not already possess it. Aside from that, they're not the tastiest thing in the world, but could be useful. I forget. Calvin, are you the only one who cannot?
I think I'm the only person who can't see in the dark. But I can sometimes see in the dark. Like, I have tools for that.
Valen just raises their hand and go, I can't see in the dark.
I keep forgetting. Forgive me.
So we're each going to take 1 mushroom. Is that how mushrooms work? I've never done shrooms before.
That is how these particular mushrooms should work. The rest I am not so sure about. I would not try eating them. They might poison you. Or they might not.
If there are still 2 unclaimed good berries, Flip would like those.
I believe Flip is welcome to them.
I am unharmed and I've had my rations for the day.
Pop 2 berries.
You like these far more than mine.
And in the rest of the room, besides those 2 things that stand out, most of this furniture, like I said, seems very lived in and comfortable. There are 2 baskets of what look to be just plain fruits that are like a bit of a mix of what you know to be like apples, pears, plums from probably locally that are just sort of left to one side as though someone was using them as like stores.
Is there only the one door?
There are 2 doors. There is one on the wall to your left, and then there is one on the wall to the top or the north.
At this point, Twid is standing uncomfortably close to Calvin and just staring up at him.
I mean, isn't it always uncomfortably close when you're in the room?
Aren't you always staring up at people?
Yes, Twid.
Is this door?
What? What?
Checking to see if doors are unlocked.
What did the voice say to you? The voice in the sword.
It said that. I mean, I don't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure it said something like, "That'll do, pig."
Its words were, "You may wield me into battle for now."
Yeah. But
Or carry me to battle. That was Joey, but yes, Thorn did not hear that. It's content to let you use it at the moment.
Yeah. It seems to think I'm okay.
Why are you okay and I wasn't okay?
How do I count the ways?
I mean, you're not really. Well, that's not the right way to say it. You're alive. You're just not really alive.
What? I'm alive.
Oh, I mean, like. And Cal's gonna like look at his hands and then look at Twid's hands and be like, "See, like, I grow, and you just kind of get built. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's a magic talking sword."
Twid, I've heard tell of similar artifacts among my people. They often have their own metrics for judging who may and may not carry them. It could be that he is human. It could be that he is of an arcane mind. It could be that he is chivalrous and good. That I do not know. Is this door unlocked?
The one to the left?
Yeah.
Yeah, checking the one to the left, you do find that the knob does turn and it is unlocked.
What about the other one? Is the other one unlocked?
If you go to the door at the north and give it a test, it as you turn it, you get the and you realize that this door is locked.
Do you want me to blast a door?
Maybe let's hold off on the blasting for now. We do wish to have a relationship with.
Do you want me to open the door?
That would be preferable, thank you.
I will attempt to open said door.
Give me a Thieves' Tools proficiency check.
Oh.
Before you do that, Flip is going to pull out a Taroka card and cast Guidance. And you see a little spectral white otter curl out of the card and kind of float through the air and curl around Calvin's shoulders.
Reroll, because you already rolled.
You get a D4 to add to your roll.
Oh, that doesn't help.
Does that fix my natural one?
It does not fix your natural one.
Oh!
Line your tools up with the lock and start to put it in. As you do that, you see a sparkle of magic out of the corner of your eyes, and then you suddenly see a weird phantom otter settle onto your shoulders, which you were not expecting. So you jump and will try to slap it away, and as you do, you hear tink and realize that you've broken off the piece of your Thieves' Tools into the lock.
Sorry about that, Calvin. I thought I was helping.
That was my favorite pick. I'll fix it later.
Perhaps the unlocked door for now, unless Fallon, do you want to try speaking to Nettle again?
I can try. Maybe she'll be more talkative since we're inside. And I'll call out in Loaming, "Hi, Nettle. We're friends of Naoko. Is everything okay?"
Flip still looks like Naoko, by the way.
So you call out into the room and you sort of look around with that expression of like, okay, is it going to happen? Where is it going to come from? As you like look over at the plants and you look at the mushrooms and then you look back behind you. You don't hear anything though after about 2 minutes pass. And I will say for you, as you're watching Flip, you have reached the 15-minute mark.
Thank you.
How much longer does that last?
Flip is gonna pull out a different Taroka card, kind of glance down, be like, I'd say I have a little more than about 45 minutes left.
So we have some time, perhaps the unlocked door.
Calvin's gonna open the door.
Okay. So Calvin is going to head over to the door. Why don't you move his token over there? And give me 1 second while I reveal that part of the map.
Flip will indeed be directly behind Calvin as Naoko. Ooh.
So you pop this door open, and it swings open with a little, if not having enough care, and you hear kind of thump against something that's sort of behind the doorframe. Looking into the room, directly in front of you is a set of 3 desks that are sort of covered with a mishmash of scrolls, books, and loose paperwork. You can see that some of them have been pushed to one side, and there's a large diagram in the middle of the one closest to you that has ink marked all across it. And there's a tiny little glowing globe of light that just sort of floats, captured just above the desk. Next to that is a huge golden statue, the one that you saw through the windows when you were looking before, in the shape of a cobra with its hood flared open. 2 large rubies in the eyes, sort of glowing with this almost faint glimmer. And there's a script written all along its body that goes down towards its coils. Setting before the coils, you see what looks to be, at first glance, a human woman, sort of kneeling there, putting incense into the idol as the smoke sort of curls around her head. But as you look in the light, you realize that along her shoulders that are exposed are scales. And it almost looks like her human skin has started to peel and fall off like a sunburn to reveal the scales beneath. And you can see that she's sort of supplicated before the statue, praying. And then as you enter, you hear her voice ring out. I thought I told you fools to be quiet. We are hidden for now by our stealth, but if the guards find out about us, they will wipe us out.
And who exactly would the guards be wiping out?
As you say that, she bolts up and spins around and pulls a dagger from within her waist. As you see her face from the front, her features are still sort of humanoid, but her mouth, as she opens it, has pointed fangs within it, and her eyes are serpentine. And you can see that same pattern of scales is kind of going all the way down her exposed stomach and along parts of her legs that are revealed by like the loincloth that she's wearing. And who are you to sneak upon me?
Flip is gonna push forward looking like Naoko and be like, excuse me, I believe this is my building. Who are you?
You know what? In response to that, make a will save. Sorry, let me double check that one. Make a charisma saving throw. I apologize. My brain still gets stuck in Pathfinder mode.
No worries. Charisma save, got it. Give me 1 second. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a 23 on my charisma save.
So you feel for a second as she responds, she says, I am meant to be here. You should see yourself in your friend's house. And as you say that, for a second, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. That she sounds like she's legitimately supposed to be. Wait a minute. No, she's not. I don't even belong here. I don't even own this place. And whatever you feel that magic as it's wafting over you, slips off of you. And if you want to just do me a favor and move yourself into the room since you stepped forward to say something.
Yep, got it. So I'm gonna be like, nice try, but I really think you're the one who needs to leave. And I'm gonna kind of try to motion behind me and like motion Thorn forward a bit.
All right.
My swords are not out. My hands are on them.
Oh, Calvin's still just carrying the giant.
I will
Bastard
say,
sword just out.
as the three of you all step
double blade.
into the room,
hard to investigate with two swords.
as you all step into the room, the fireplace that was just to your left sort of blocked part of your view of the room because it sort of it stuck out from the wall. You can glance to the side and you can see there's a large magic circle in faint glowing blue written upon the ground that's glowing with this distorted heat wave looking appearance right in the middle of it. And just behind that is a large, what seems to be sarcophagus or stone tomb or coffin with the lid pushed slightly back, that same glow coming from within that part of it that's exposed.
I'm going to kill Naoko.
And you can more clearly see that as the figure standing in front of you sort of hunches over a little bit, that dagger's still in hand. It just looks very carefully back and forth between the three of you that are in the room that it can see.
With Naoko's voice again, I'm going to say, I think you'd better explain what you're doing here immediately before we are forced to expel you.
And I will say at this point, since you have moved into the room, Thorn, you can give me a history check with advantage, or anyone else in the room can give me a history or arcana check if they want to try to figure out if they know what this particular creature looks
better at
like.
history.
Ooh. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20?
That's a 9.
That's a 9.
I rolled a 9 and an 8.
10 for flip.
10 for flip. The serpentine scales along its body, Thorn, give you a moment of pause, and you sort of look at it more carefully, and you're like, well, I don't like the ardent scales, and this thing's also scaly, and you're trying to think, like, are they related in some way?
Like, it doesn't look like that accountant.
Yeah, it does not look like your friend, they are not so friend, the ardent scale.
He is not my friend.
With your check of 20, though, Calvin, you are able to identify this. During the war between the ardent scale and the Ashahai and the Verdant, the ardent scale, several of the ardent scale arcanophants decided to create and build their very own war machines. Some of them building things like various chimera, one of which is infamous for having built a race of servants from the human nations that they captured, known as the Yuan-Ti. The Yuan-Ti were humans who that particular hero, the arcanophant, decided they could make better by removing their unnecessary human emotions and replacing them with cool logic and cunning. And so this is a pureborn, essentially one of the early stages of becoming a Yuan-Ti. With breeding, the serpentine traits of them would grow progressively more pronounced until eventually they would make a huge transformation. You know them to be dangerous and to have previously been essentially tools of war during the time of the war a couple hundred years ago. They have largely died out since the Ardent Scale left their previous homelands and went to their new land and changed their form of government. They're considered to be a mistake that was made during the war by their previous leaders. Yeah. I will say, I'll give you this one because it's one of those like history of magic sort of lessons that you would have learned and been interested in as a young artificer.
Yeah, she's not friendly.
Do you say the name?
Yes.
Thorn knows that name now.
Do you say the name out loud?
Yeah, she's a Yuan-Ti.
Thorn's blades are out.
As you say that, she charges Thorn and is going to make an attack, and then we're going to roll for initiative.
My swords are out.
Twid's just trying to look through everyone's legs and going, "What's happening?"
What the fuck?
That is going to be a 21 to hit you, Thorn.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, do I have anything I can do with that? Hold on.
Lovely white noise brought to you by Barnaby's Buggle Snoozes.
Nope.
As she charges forward, she slides the dagger and essentially manages to hit a chink in your armor and slide it in. She steps back, releasing it, and you take 3 points of slashing damage as the small dagger is stuck sort of into you. And let's roll for initiative.
Come on, roll decent. Not terrible.
I know. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm like, what is my plus to initiative right now?
New characters.
New character sheets. This feels like a story accurate turn order.
I mean, it is fitting for your characters and the way that they're built. All right, so let me just put that in order. So, Twiddlemop, you will start us out as you're trying to look past Valen into the room. You just catch a flash of a woman, humanoid looking, but with serpent scales and serpentine eyes, charge at Thorn and stab Thorn, and basically leave the knife behind as it pulls a scimitar from within its belt.
Twid is going to charge forward. And this is like a table right here, right?
Yes, that's a table.
Okay. And Twid is going to move up here and go, you stay away from Thorn, and cast Eldritch Blast.
Okay, so you cast Eldritch Blast, so roll to hit for me, please.
And Twid will be pulling out Lucretia to cast Eldritch Blast with.
This Eldritch Blast brought to you by Lucretia.
Oh, Lucretia.
At Twitty's Carts.
You almost said the name. We'll never speak of that again.
We can't speak of it.
13.
13? Okay, with the 13, you do hit. So roll for me. You would notice, looking at this woman, that she is essentially wearing a very flowing top that sort of just covers and comes in close to her upper body, but her stomach is exposed, and she's wearing essentially like harem pants below, with cuts on either side to reveal her legs.
Twid just did 13 damage.
13 damage. Okay, so you level your hand, and your Eldritch Blast screams out from your palm, or from Lucretia, I should say, essentially from the little tiny doll eyes, and slams into the Yuan-Ti, causing it to shrug backwards as a bit of the scale just comes flying off. So I am going to take that down. And that's force damage, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now it is Thorn's turn.
So Thorn has the sword. Can I use a free action just to pull the knife out and drop it?
Yeah, it's for flavor. It's just
flavor. So Thorn looks at them in the eyes without looking, just yanks the knife out, drops it, and is gonna return the favor.
All right. So roll the hit for me then.
That's a 19, so 24.
24? Okay. Yeah. 24 definitely hits. Like, not a problem.
And I'm gonna burn my last smite.
Ooh, getting spicy.
Because now that Kelvin has reminded me, it's been a long day. I don't like these. What is my point dice again? Hold on, where do you go?
Get her, Thorn.
While they are looking, if any of you are curious about the stats of the characters taking part in the battle, we do have the D&D Beyond interactive option enabled for our channel. So if you roll over the screen, you can actually look at their character sheets, see their stats, their abilities, and their current hit points.
Would this count as a fiend or undead?
This would not be a fiend, or this would not trigger any extra damage.
That's what I was. Ooh, good roll though. 20.
20
on the first hit.
20 total on the first hit.
Yeah.
Okay. So you slide down with your sword, and as
Do you need radiant or slashing separate?
Nope, it's all good. As the sword impacts with the Yuan-Ti's body, there's this burst of this almost like astringent pale blue light that washes over her form, and when it clears, you can see that there is just torn scales all across it, dripping blood. One of the eyes is actually swollen shut from the force of the hit, and you realize this Yuan-Ti seems to be on its last legs.
That's what I have, though.
A second
sword.
Give me your follow.
23.
23 will definitely hit.
Less good. That's only 4.
Okay. So reeling from your previous hit, skin scorched, losing scales, you step into it and just slide your sword right into its stomach. And as you do, it sort of hunches over the blade, and after a second, pushes off of you and stumbles away, still on its feet, but like weaving. And there's just blood pouring down its stomach. So that will bring us to whoever's next in order, which is Flip. So Flip, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a vicious mockery at her. So I need to make a wisdom save of 12.
Ooh, harsh. You're gonna hit her while she's down.
Yeah, I think I am.
You don't have to do much.
That's a 10, so she fails.
Okay, let's see how much psychic damage I do. As Flip is just kind of like, you shouldn't have messed with us. You shouldn't have told me to leave. Only 1 psychic damage though.
Oh, okay, 1 psychic damage. You see her sort of stumble away and flinch as the source of the damage, but she shakes it off, and you get the feeling like, when you don't have emotions anymore, you're not really as worried about insults.
Fair. Okay.
Sorry. Is there anything you want to do with the rest of your turn, Flip? I apologize.
No worries. I think I am gonna try to take a few steps back over by Twiddlemop. So over to here.
You're going to move out of her threat range, so you will potentially provoke an attack of opportunity.
Yep, I'm okay with that.
That is going to be a 16 to hit you.
Oh, yeah, that'll hit.
All right, so that is a 16. That is 4 points of slashing damage as the back of her scimitar catches you along your back.
I'm going to intercept.
Thorn, you're going to use your intercept ability as your reaction.
A 12, so it does no damage.
Does no damage. So you catch it on your sword and knock it wide.
Yeah. Thorn has not broken eye contact. In the room speak Ashavik.
This what?
Is there a Elvish language?
Ashavik is the Elvish language.
Then yes, I speak Ashavik.
Oh, so you hear Thorn very softly say, "You should have known better." But in Ashavik's script, I think you are the only one who speaks.
All right. So with that,
you did.
Calvin, you're up for us.
I'm gonna step up
Mm-hmm.
and swing my fun new friend.
Swinging your sword.
I don't know what I add to the roll, but I definitely miss.
What did you get?
I rolled a 4.
Okay. So you are going to take 3 points of psychic damage. And as you swing down and the sword misses, you feel that same pressure on the side of your head. And for a second, your left eye, the vision just cracks like someone having a migraine. As it happens, you feel the sword again pulse with that like wave of heat. And as the sword comes slashing down, you see her skin sear like a bad sunburn. And you feel the force of the heat, and it kind of like knocks into her. And even, I will say, Thorn, from where you're standing, you can feel the heat hit you with the force. You don't take any damage, but she definitely does. And as that happens and the heat wave passes over her, she crumples to the ground. I'm going to leave her on the map. I'm just going to mark her as dead with the small dead icon. And we are out of initiative.
This sword does wonders. I didn't even hit her.
That is impressive, I will admit.
Just make sure you're keeping track of your psychic damage.
Well, we healed, right? I don't have to keep track of it separate, do I?
No. It heals normally. I'm just saying, make sure you're keeping track of
I
it.
took the damage.
Okay, Calvin, did you just cook her?
A little bit.
Thorn sniffs at the air a little bit and go, "I know that smell."
Yeah, I will say, looking down at the corpse, it does appear to be partially cooked. Also, thanks so much, Loophole King. Hopefully, all the crits will be the monsters, and we can see how the party deals with that.
I would prefer not.
All right. So as her body crumples to the ground, you hear a small of what almost sounds like live electricity. And as you look to the side, you see the circle that has been drawn out that seems to be right in front of that open casket flare for a second, and the light gets more intense and then starts to fade away and then flickers back off and on for a second before settling back down. And you see the little portal that seems to little waver tear in the sky or tear in the air right above it pulls open a little bit and then settles back down.
Calvin, do you have any idea about that?
Do I have any idea about it?
Give me some Arcana checks if you're going to look into it.
Is now the time for Detect Magic, Thorn?
Now would be an appropriate time for Detect Magic if you
It
wanted
would
to
be
use
had
it.
I not used my last spell slot to smite the hell out of her.
Ah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm out of juice.
What a shame.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20? Okay. So taking a look at the runes itself on this circle, you recognize them as being tied to the summoning school and abjuration schools of magic. You get the feeling like this was drawn here in attempt to draw something out from within the stone casket. And I will say with the dirty 20, you can either attempt to repair the circle because you realize which parts of it seem to be damaged, or you can try to dispel the circle. And you get to feel like those would be of different difficulties.
I would suggest dispel, considering we do not want whatever is in there to come here.
If I think about it, there's a spell that I currently have prepared for the day that would let me spray a whole bunch of acid on it.
You could try that, but you're not. You believe you could damage the summoning circle. You're not sure what that would do, as it seems to be an interaction between the circle and the stone casket behind it.
And the stone casket is not in the circle?
It is not in the circle. It is next to the circle. As you look close, you can see that, like I said, there is, just like there's that distortion in the air, that same sort of silver gray distortion seems to be pouring out of the side of the casket.
Calvin, do you think if we merely closed the casket, it would have an effect?
It's worth a shot.
Flip is gonna see you kind of debating about this and pull out a Taroka card again and be like, with a little warning, do you want to try this again, Calvin? And you can see there's like a white otter curled around a shell on the card.
Well, Pork Roll is gonna close the sarcophagus.
Give me a strength check or an athletics check for Pork Roll if they're proficient.
Good, because I am not good at that.
Pork Roll can have guidance.
Pork Roll is in fact proficient with athletics.
Then roll it for me.
Natural 20.
Not critting.
Only Pork Roll. So that's a 26 plus the D4 from guidance.
So Pork Roll sort of
Which is a 4 on the D4.
It's a 4. Okay.
So an even 30 on
Even 30.
What the hell?
Pork Roll clanks into the room, this large samurai cat construct, slams one giant paw down on the top of the stone casket, and gives a heaving pull. And as they do, the stone skids across it, and you can see there's a fight for it as Pork Roll gets pulled back and then pulls it forward and gets pulled back as though it's trying to force itself open. And finally, you see the casket lid snap shut. The distortion in the middle of the circle closes down to be a much smaller size, but remains open.
Pork Roll gives a dab.
Good job, Pork Roll.
I thank you, friend Pork Roll.
So that does. There is still a small distortion in the air, but now it is about a foot tall, whereas before it was about 5 feet tall. And the circle, the color that was slowly fading on it, picks up a little bit as though the strength of the circle is not being tested anymore. I will say that with your previous roll, you get the feeling like whatever you've done has reinforced the limitations on the circle. You would still know that it would probably be easier either to repair or to deactivate this summoning circle.
Keep trying to click on the screen to move my.
I keep doing this okay.
Can Calvin investigate it and see if he can figure it out how to disable it?
You want to disable it? Yeah. Give me just another Arcana check as you spend more time sort of getting in tune with the magic and figuring out ways to carefully disable it.
Natural 20.
Oh, okay. So the King definitely gave you like some weird good luck because that is 2 20s in a
That's
row.
impressive. What dice roller are you using?
Just Google.
Google likes you better.
Second natural 20, it doesn't take you very long to realize that it wouldn't be too hard to close this circle. You get the feeling like whoever built it meant for it to have like a quick escape, like a quick release hatch. So you reaching out, you mirror several of the glyphs on the ground with some chalk from your own bag. And when you hit the last one, the circle flares up with a little bit of a bright color. And you see as the circle itself sinks down, it jumps and peels itself up off the ground, wraps around the outside of that this tear in the air, and pulls it shut. And with a snap, it's gone.
Good job, Calvin.
And you can see what looks to be the now robbed of magic, just the marks of the circle on the ground in plain, like what looks to be like a silvery powder.
Thorn is gonna kick some of them out of the way.
Yes, as you do, it just
get rid of them
and scatters across like sand. You get the feeling whatever magic was in it has been disabled by Calvin.
Checking my Taroka card, how much do I have left on Disguise Self?
I will say this is taking you up to, with Calvin taking time to disable the spell, you are at the 25-minute mark.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
17 investigation check for this room.
17 investigation check for this room? Absolutely.
Specifically her and the golden statue.
I was going to say, if I walk over to the statue and snuff out the incense, do I recognize the statue at all?
Do I
recognize the iconography?
Give me another history check with advantage because of your background.
That doesn't help me that much. It's still a +0.
I'm aware, but this is how much you paid attention. In all of your...
I'll take the advantage because I rolled a 1 and a 16.
16. Okay,
so with 16.
With your 16, you take some time looking at it, and now that Calvin has mentioned the Yuan Ti, you remember some of the stories that you heard growing up amongst the Asha High. The Yuan Ti sort of
Grandma's boogeyman stories.
Grandma's boogeyman stories would be a good fit. The Yuan Ti were used as shock troopers and infiltrators by the Ardent Scale. Knowing that their reptilian bodies weren't suited for the cold of your home, they essentially started to transform humans that they had conquered from the other human nations as they were expanding their empire. One of them decided to change those humans and make them better. So the Yuan Ti started to serve as sort of like generals and special forces amongst their human conscripts. So they are considered to be like a horrible example of how bad arcane magic can be, because they were normal humans who got forcibly changed, and they would lose their emotions, they would lose their compassion and connection to others, which would make them very dangerous because they were unafraid to die in the pursuit of their orders. And this particular icon, to be a token of that, the Arcanophant who created them, an Arcanophant by the name of Kishar. And she was one of the 6 Arcanophants that ruled the Ardent Scale at the time of the war. And her name is definitely spoken of as like the worst. She was the one who most enjoyed the war and used it as an opportunity to create essentially monstrosities to send against the Verdant and the Ardent Scale. So you recognize it for sure. And looking at the script, you recognize written all across it is in the Scythian, the language of the Ardent Scale. I don't know if anyone in the party speaks Scythian. I can't remember every language that everyone had.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Valen, is there a reason I should not smash this into pieces right now?
I mean, I know you have very strong feelings still about the Ardent Scales.
If that's
but it's
Yuan Ti.
But it's also not ours to smash, so maybe we should not destroy it until we know what's going on.
It either summoned or worse, created.
I will say in the time that you've been looking at the casket on the top of it also has a carving of an Ardent Scale. So very much like the funerary caskets or funerary like sarcophaguses where someone actually carves a likeness of the person into it, this one shows an Ardent Scale along the top. Sort of in repose, hands folded, and what looks to be wrapped on its chest, a copy of their holy book, The Balance of Reason.
question is, do we think our illustrious host, and Flip will kind of gesture to his disguise, say, knows of these beings here, or if they somehow snuck in with these ardent scale artifacts?
I'm tempted to believe she may have drawn that circle, but we will find that out when we leave. We should find Nettle and get out.
I will say, with the time that you were looking at it, the coffin, the sarcophagus, also has carving in what you believe to be Sithin as well, all on the top. I'll say, with your background as an Ashahai, you at a glance can recognize their alphabet. You don't speak.
Can I at least tell enough to know if the writing on the statue sort of matches?
Yeah. So it's very much like, I've seen this language before.
I can see this character looks like that character, but I don't know what it says.
Yeah, it's a distinctive alphabet.
The writing is similar, but I can't read it.
And you're looking in the rest of the room. So if you examine the rest of the room within the desk, as you pull it open, there's a silver dagger on the inside. This one seems to be of Almer make. And there is 14 gold pieces, 8 silver pieces. There is a smaller idol, which seems to be just a copy of the one that you can see in the room, a small serpent. No carvings on it, it's just the serpent itself, probably about 6 inches tall. And then with all the notes and stuff, you can see that what seemed to be, giving it a quick glance over, the notes chronicle several digs that took place to the south. In the land that we used to belong to the Ardent Scale that has since turned to forest, where you can still find a ton of Ardent Scale ruins from the war.
This is Calvin finding this?
Yeah, Calvin is because Calvin was the one who made the check. And then there's a large battle axe on that table. But I will say that the things that stand out to you are the 2 serpent statues, the sarcophagus, and the battle axe.
Does the axe seem fancy?
You give it a look over. I will say, just give me a quick intelligence check.
I have intelligence. That would be a 7.
I mean, it's a nice axe.
Okay.
It is double-headed, just like the one like you see on the picture. What you can see is carved across one side of it or engraved across one side of it is a Pegasus in flight.
Oh, so it's Britannian.
You would guess it's most likely a relic from the Britannian times.
Okay.
Which Britannia, for the people watching the stream, or not Britannia, Rion. I'm sorry, I should say Rionan. Rion is the country to the north, now blocked by a mountain full of snow, that used to rule Britannia. And their emblem is a Pegasus.
And then I assume there's the 2 doors at the top.
Yes, there are 2 doors at the top. I'm assuming you're going to open them.
Yeah, or I'm going to check if they're open.
Yeah, so if you take a moment to look at them, it's not too hard to discover that they are indeed they're open. They essentially are unlocked. So just pick which one you'd like to open first.
The right.
The one that you're in front of?
Yes.
Sure. So you pop that one open, and you open it up to discover what looks to be like a simple bedroom. You get the feeling like it's probably not a bedroom someone uses every day, but the sheets are rumpled and tossed around. There's some discarded clothing here. A small vanity to the right, and a large bound chest right in front of you.
Oh, this seems like somebody's office bedroom.
Where Naoko sleeps when she doesn't want to leave.
When she doesn't feel like being the other Naoko.
Yes. Thorn's gonna try the door there in front of.
You want to try that door?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So, looking into that one, you open it up into what seems to be like a small closet space. There are a number of crates and boxes in here. As you sort of peek into 1 or 2 of them, it looks to be full of tools. Sorry, not toys. Some brushes, small picks, crowbars. A number of them are still kind of dirty, and you can see printed on the side of them that identifying them as property of Naoko Shishimo and to be returned to her residence, and essentially what would be her address.
Can I find amongst the tools a pick to replace the pick that I broke in the door?
Oh, you're looking for a replacement for your lockpick? You know what? Give me an investigation check.
I mean, I can find a replacement, but you won't like it.
14.
14, you actually do digging through the tools for a quick minute. You find a set of what you realize to be essentially lockpicks. Pushing through them, you see that on the top of the box that you have, it identifies that these tools are the property of the university here in Truehome.
Why does Naoko have these?
You know she's a university. Yeah, she's a professor at the university.
I'm guessing they're the ones who finance her digs.
Well, then in this case, round 2 on the locked door.
I was gonna say, do you want to investigate the bedroom at all before you go?
I wasn't going to, but as a player now, I feel like I have to because you reminded me that I should.
Hey, I'm gonna ask. You went in there.
Calvin was gonna respect her privacy.
That I do not believe.
Oh, Valen is 100% already in the room.
These are new characters. You can't hold us on an Octua.
I mean, that's fair. I'm still going to be suspicious. Okay, so Valen, as you walk into the room and you pop up, you look around the room itself. Like I said, it's unmade bed, discarded clothes. Several of them do match the style of the clothing you saw Naoko wearing when you last saw her. So sort of very simple but very well made robes. None of them bear the art and scale markings like you saw before. Most of them are in the traditional Hoshin style that's common in Truehome. On the small vanity table, you find what you would expect for somebody, the odds and ends of makeup and other things like that, as well as a ivory comb that you would assume is like a hair comb that you would guess is probably worth a decent amount. And then popping open the chest in the room, looking into it, you find there is a number of discarded clothing as well. This one looks to be more like what you consider to be like expedition clothes. Everything is rugged and well made. A couple pieces are still dirty from what you would guess would probably be time in the field. And tucked in the very back is a small box, small like lacquered box, marked with the university's signet as well.
I reach in and grab the box, and I turn around to Thorn, who's standing in the doorway, and I say, well, she's got really good taste in clothing. Oh, and I found this box.
Open it. Open it.
I open it.
Thorn has not put their swords away.
So Twiddlemop, reaching out, grabs the box out of your hands and pops it open. And looking in the box, you find that there's a number of scrolls nested inside the box. There seems to be a couple of slots that are empty, like the scrolls within them have been used. I will make you roll for these since they're actually labeled. There are 2 scrolls of comprehend languages, one scroll of ray of enfeeblement, 1 scroll of enhance ability, and 1 scroll of scorching ray.
So it was 1 of each except for 2 comprehend languages?
Yeah, there's 2 comprehend languages. And where they are in the box, you get the feeling like the ones that have been used already, probably there were some more comprehend languages and perhaps some more of the scorching ray scrolls, because it's sort of like each end is empty.
Yeah.
And those are what's in the center.
You said 2 comprehend languages, 1 ray of enfeeblement, 1 scorching ray, and
1 enhance. 1 enhance ability.
Cool.
Which you can find on the cleric's list. All the other spells you can find on the wizard's spells.
Thorn looks down at you. Are you taking those?
Yes. Should I? I think I should.
I saw nothing. And Thorn's gonna hold their arm out for Valen.
I use it to get up off the ground.
But are you keeping all those scrolls?
Wait, what, Calvin?
Are you keeping all of the scrolls?
I was thinking I should. I think I can use a few of these.
I think you can use all of them. They're scrolls.
I believe Calvin is asking if he may have some.
No, I'm just making sure that I don't have to keep track of them.
Yeah, I've got them. And Toad will put them in their bag.
As party inventory keeper.
Fair.
I want to make sure I don't have to keep track of things.
Don't let Naoko find out you took them.
I mean, all we did was borrow things to get the job done that she asked us to do. So like, they're just like payment.
I don't disagree with you, but I find that she may not like it, especially when she has to explain to the university where they went. They're not even hers.
Twid will hand the empty box back to Valen and say, "There, you can put it back."
Okay.
Only the box is labeled property of the university.
I mean, the box just has the signet of the university embroidered on it. I will say that we've reached 8:30, so we're about an hour into the stream. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 5-minute breather break for everybody so they can take a chance to get up, stretch their legs. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're enjoying the stream, it would be great if you could give us a follow here on Twitch, or if you'd like to learn more about the world of Obra, we're going to be continuing to put content on our Twitter, which is linked in our about. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Hi, everybody. Thanks for bearing with us while we were on break. We're just going to start back up here on just a little bit. Episode 3, Relics and Roses. We rejoin the party, still within the workshop of Lady Naoko Shishima. They have just confronted a Yuan-Ti, a member of a essentially war race that was created by the Ardent Scale, who they found mysteriously in Naoko's workshop. They sealed a tomb that seemed to have been releasing some kind of strange portal, closing the summoning circle attached to it, and explored the room a little bit more, recovering a few artifacts or items borrowed from the university. Now we're going to jump right back in and see what would the characters like to do.
We acquired them very legitimately.
It's a very legitimate business enterprise. The voice of Large Marge echoes in your mind as you help yourself to the tools that you need for your job. What would the party like to do now? So you have the scrolls, you have explored all of these rooms, and you have the locked door in the other.
Round 2 of lockpicking.
Round 2 of lockpicking. Roll again your lockpicking check now that you've recovered your tools.
Calvin is going to flip and be like, so you're not going to mess with me again this time, right?
I don't know. Do you want it or not?
I mean, you made me break my favorite pick.
I mean, I didn't quite mean to surprise you like that.
But I mean, it's really intricate work picking locks. You have to be really focused.
Flip, just give him the help so he doesn't break another one.
I'll go ahead and look at Calvin directly in the eyes and cast guidance from the Taroka card.
All right, so the small otter, phantom otter appears from within your card, lands on Calvin's shoulders. You would be rolling with extra D4 for your guidance, and if you'd like to make your check for
what the fuck?
Natural 20!
Okay, no, you are not allowed to use that dice roller anymore, because that is the third natural 20 of tonight.
Can I have some luck?
King for giving you weird critical roll luck.
Can I
whatever your natural 20 though, you without any problem with your nice fancy new university issue lock picks, and sure enough, the doors unlock for you, no problem.
I want whatever you're having.
And they open to reveal what looks to be a small stairwell leading down into the basement. And there is a window just across from you and some potted plants. And essentially the room itself is pretty
Calvin's gonna
minimal.
Hold up his handmade locks, and then the university issue locks, and give a little grumble of mine are better than this. I don't understand why mine didn't work.
I knew you could do it, Calvin.
What would you like to do now that you've revealed the stairwell?
Would you care to lead the way, or shall I?
Calvin will take the lead.
All right.
He is our big strong tank.
So I'm going to move us over to our next map then. Bear with me for a second while I get us back into being able to see it. So I've dropped everybody's tokens to the side. Feel free to put yourself in marching order as you go down this the stairwell. Heading down the stairwell, you come down to what seems to be a pretty common, this doesn't seem to be unusual for a basement. The stairs end in a room that's full of an assortment of large sacks and bags all set to one side, some of which you feel probably have loose pieces of equipment in them as they all kind of lumpy from what's inside. Others look to be, from the smell and from the appearance, manure bags or fertilizer bags. To the right, you see the remains of what is probably a small forge with a number of pieces of discarded armor and other goods that have been tossed to one side, definitely feel like it's stored. And then oddly, which stands out to you, is that there's some crates next to the fertilizer that are full of what looks to be fresh fruits.
This is a really weird mix of stuff. It doesn't belong here.
Believe that this might be the beginning of Nettle's laboratory, which would explain the manure and the fruit. The metalworking gear I cannot explain.
Seems to be a lot of gardening supplies, which I'm familiar with. Yeah, I don't really get the metalworking, though.
Why is the food next to the poop?
I'm sure to someone who specializes and is made of plants, and Flip is going to kind of glance at Valen. Maybe the two aren't too different.
And I will say, besides that, you also notice that down a short hallway, there's a set of double doors that are currently closed.
Calvin is going to look at Valen and like his face is turning that green, terrible, like realizing like, wait, does Valen eat poop?
Just to mess with you, I look at the bags and I go, that looks so good.
As the one who cooks most of Valen's food, I mean, cook being
Well,
operative.
there you go.
They do not.
Gentlefolk. It took us 3 episodes to get to poop jokes, so this is D at its finest.
If they are not with me, I do not know what they eat, but I have yet to see them consume fertilizer.
I mean,
Valen will look at Flip though and be like, "That's offensive."
Never mind.
Is the forging stuff decent? Is it? Been used?
You can give me a quick intelligence check if you want to eyeball it and see if you think it's. Or just your proficiency just your proficiency check.
So just my proficiency bonus?
Yeah, because you have Smith tools, right?
Yeah.
So it would be like your intelligence and your proficiency bonus to it.
So 24.
24, yeah. You look at it, no, it's not particularly good equipment. You get the feeling like this is the kind of thing that you use to like take some dents out, make some moderate like repairs to bits and pieces. The armor, as you look at it, you recognize it as being like several older generations of the Retenian armor, Retenian armor. You get the feeling like this might be another part of Naoko's anthropological work or archaeological work.
Gotcha. It's shared storage space. Well then Calvin's gonna just continue down the hallway to the door. It's not dark down here, is it?
No, there is several globes along the wall that provide a soft, consistent magical lighting, which is not unusual in the home of the wealthy and powerful. I'm assuming you're going to open the door?
I'm going to test it first.
Yeah, so you test the doorknobs, and sure enough, they're not locked.
I'm going to listen through the door.
Oh, you're going to listen? Give me a perception check.
That is 13.
Listening to the doorway, you hear after a couple of minutes like a thump, the sound of something thumping, and that's about it.
Kyle's gonna look back to Porkroll and be like, "What do you think?" And wait for Porkroll to decide if he wants to go in or not. And I imagine Porkroll like puts his little paws together, looks down at them, and is gonna push the door open.
Okay, so Porkroll's taking the lead?
Yeah.
Do you want to flip you and Porkroll around then? All right. So
I love that art of Porkroll so much.
It's so good.
I know, Kat did a great job on Porkroll. It's really awesome. All right, so pushing open the door, and let me just adjust so that everybody watching can get a better view too. You reveal a room that's sort of surprising for you. You didn't expect to find it here in the basement below Naoko's home. The room itself is stone, but is filled with plants. So there's planters all through the center that have an exotic variety of what you know to be essentially like different kinds of roses. So there's reds, blues, purples, a couple of colors that you don't know, do not grow in Retenia. I will say that Valen, you would recognize a couple of them as being from the Verdant Weald. Kind of in the room itself, further back, there is a plant-covered alcove with plants in all different kinds of pots and several different levels, as well as a large cushion on the ground. And to the left is a small pond that is being fed from a little fountain. There's a little waterfall falling from the side of the wall into the pond itself. And there is like a desk to your left and a large wall of these thick, heavy, almost to the point of being bramble rose bushes are growing kind of across the wall. And facing it is human body, but very like a minotaur, except for the head is serpentine, is a figure that looks to be angry. And it is large sword in hand, sort of looking at consternation at this giant wall of bramble, and seems to be trying to find like an opening in it. And it's in frustration slams over one of the potted plants next to it, and you hear it say, if you bring down the wall, I will help you, and we can be friends. But if you keep it up, I will prune you. And as the doors open, I will say it freezes after saying that and snaps its head to one side, and you can see the large serpentine eyes sort of slowly open and then like narrow a little bit as it looks at you.
Serpentine like the UNT or serpentine like the Nothic?
Give me a history check with advantage still, or yeah, I'll say this is all history at this
point. 11.
Yes, it matches in what you know to be a UNT. So it is a pretty like burly man's body, wearing a pair of like armored pants and a small loincloth, 2 thick, heavy bracers along its arms, scimitar in hand, and the human body pretty much stops at shoulders, covered with scales, and goes into a full serpent's head. So where the other UNT, the pure blood, still looked very human with just patches of scales, this is as if someone took a serpent's head and just plopped it right on top of somebody's body.
Do I know what it is?
You do not know the type of UNT it is.
But I know it's a UNT.
You're pretty sure, based on your previous experience, that it's a UNT.
The swords were out. The swords have been out.
I will say, like, if it sees you, you see it, you're both in an aggressive posture, we're going to roll for initiative. As you do that, you see a really quick head kind of pops through some of the bramble, hearing the sound of it, the door slamming open, because I will say pork roll was not gentle. And you see a verdant woman's head show up. So long, leafy hair sort of falling down on one side, and very like fine features. So a verdant, I will say, who has chosen to present as a more feminine appearance, leans out and is like, oh, adventurers, help over here, help.
Can I, in loathing, say, Nettle, are you all right?
No, not at all, not safe at all.
Tell me about it.
And roll for initiative.
I'm going to say Valen, kind of standing behind, like, pokes a head out, and it's just like, hi, Nettle.
You hear, although you don't tell me, in Ashavik, Thorn once again say, I'm going to kill Naoko. Well, the idiotic things an archaeologist could do.
Let's see.
Oh, gross.
Oh, and pork roll doesn't need it to his own turn.
Twit is suddenly very glad that they're slowest on this, with that thing getting a 21 initiative.
So as you like kind of bust in, weapons drawn, the UNT, who is sort of yelling at the barrier of plants, freezes, snaps its head around to look at you, scimitar in hand, and lets out like the long slithery hiss of its tongue, and it is going to it's going to charge up to pork roll, and it's going to swing twice with its scimitar and slash out. So that is 18 on the first attack. It's a 23 on the second attack.
Both will hit.
Both will hit against pork roll. That is going to be 4 points. I'm sorry.
I will intercept.
6 points of slashing damage on the first one. You're intercepting the first attack?
Yes.
All right, so roll to reduce the damage
and
on the first one.
How many points?
It was 6.
It goes down to 1.
It goes down to 1? Okay.
I rolled a 1.
So your sword catches it, but the scimitar just manages to slide along your blade and still carve across part of...
Because it's a weird reach.
Yeah, it's not a comfortable. And then the second attack is for 9.
I get my reaction back.
As it slams your sword away and then cuts back across with the scimitar. And you hear the like of like metal upon metal as pork roll gets hit. And then I'm going to say it will... No, it won't move. Okay, so that brings us to Thorn then.
Thorn's going to run up behind it.
Okay.
And I only can do the one thing. I'm going to slash at it. And miss. A lot.
Okay.
And miss on the second strike.
Yeah, so
lot.
both strikes.
I'm assuming a 7 doesn't hit.
You swing at the serpent, and it sort of just snaps its head to one side, and you see the blade just sort of like skids across the scales on the side of its neck. And then the second one, it catches on its sword.
I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, so both are, and you hear the voice of the same Verdant's call from behind you. Yeah, so watch out for the fang things. It's venomous. Venomous. That's the term Naoko uses. It's venomous.
Which one am I immune to? Poison or disease?
Valen, you're up.
Disease, not poison. Important distinction.
Yeah, you are resistant to diseases. I'm sorry, let me return it.
I was checking if it was poison in case that came up.
I will move up 1 space and go, oh, this doesn't look good, and kind of like hold out a hand, and I need it to make a wisdom save.
Ooh, wisdom save, okay. That's a 20.
Oh, okay, so
That
I think-
your
I think you'll take. Do you take half? Oh no, nothing happens. Sorry.
And that's your whole turn?
Yeah, that's my whole turn.
Okay.
We're not doing.
I mean, you're not doing terrible.
I mean, me and Valen have managed to do nothing. So far, we have done nothing.
Calvin, you're up. Flip, you're on deck after, so if you want to be ready.
First thing I'm going to do is use my bonus action and say, "You can do it, Pork Roll!" And Pork Roll's going to attack.
Okay.
It's a 17 to hit.
All right, so with the 17, you do hit.
And Pork Roll deals 9 points of force damage.
So that's 9 points of force damage, putting you on the damage roll.
And then Calvin's going to move up here and swing with his regular sword.
Okay. Oh, so you're not using the enchanted sword?
No.
Okay. So you swing with your normal sword, roll to hit.
It's 21 to hit.
21 hits.
And I'll deal 6 points of slashing.
6 points of slashing. All right. As you swing with your normal sword, you carve into the side of it, and you see you dig a bloody furrow up its shoulder. As you do, you hear that same voice that you heard before when you picked up the sword go, pathetic.
Bitch.
And
You never hit anything.
Flip.
Um,
And Calvin is done.
Yes.
And then Total Mop, you're on deck next, so be ready.
Flip is gonna move up behind Pork Roll and grab his net and try to throw his net over the snake thing.
Roll to hit with your net.
That's a 19 to hit.
19 hits.
So a large or smaller creature hit by a net is restrained until it is freed. The creature can use its action to make a DC 10 strength check, freeing itself or another creature within its reach on a success. 5.
Being restrained with a little snail. And that is, restrained just means it's not going to be able to move away from it, where it currently is. If memory serves.
Yeah, it just says restrained, so.
And I think we get don't we get advantage on attack rolls? And it has disadvantage.
Restraining creature's speed becomes 0. It cannot benefit.
Oh yeah, that's
from
right.
attack-
So attack rolls against the
yeah.
creature have advantage, and its attack rolls have disadvantage.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's gonna be helpful.
So that's going to be significant for the party.
And then I'm just gonna kind of back up a little bit, and that's gonna be, as a bonus action, I'm gonna throw a Bardic Inspiration at Thorn.
Thank you.
So, which is currently a D6.
All right, and flip or twin flip. That's all your turn.
That is my turn. Yes.
All right, Twiddlemop, you're up.
Twiddlemop is going to reach into their bag, pull out a little straw doll that's got like braided straw hair and is made of lots of little like straw pieces together. And Twiddlemop is walking forward slowly and goes, "You stay away from pork roll." And Twid is going to bonus action cast Hex on it.
Okay.
And is choosing to make it have disadvantage on strength checks.
Okay.
And then Twiddlemop switches out the one doll for Lucretia and is going to fire an Eldritch Blast as an action.
All right. So fire Eldritch Blast.
And you said advantage because it's restrained?
I believe it's only advantage on attack rolls. Yeah. So party, go ahead.
Okay. Dirty 20?
Oof. I mean, that'll definitely hit.
Okay, and it'll take 8 force damage and 2 necrotic damage.
10. All right, so it takes 10 points of damage total then.
And that is Twiddlemop's turn.
Good job, Twiddlemop. So we're back to the Yuan-Ti's turn, sort of pushing against the net. It's sort of looking around in concern. It's going to turn and look at you. It's going to turn and look at Thorn, and it is going to say, "Protect me." And I need you to make a wisdom save for me.
Do I have advantage because this is like my mortal enemy?
You do not, no.
But I am going to burn that D6.
I mean, you certainly can.
You said what, wisdom save?
Wisdom save.
What is my wisdom save? Good. I mean, I hope I didn't need that D6. 23.
23? No. So with the 23, it asks you that, and for a second you're like, no, that seems very reasonable. I should help this poor serpent creature that I hate. Wait a minute. No, absolutely not. And you resist the effects of the magic. And it's your turn, so that's convenient because it is not able to do anything else at this point.
Thorn's gonna look down at it and go, "Oh, I'll help you." Stab.
I roll to hit.
It's like if you could curb stomp someone with a sword.
Get her, Jade. I mean, Thorn.
Yes.
21. Yeah.
21 hits? Yeah, it does.
For 8.
8 points of damage? Sure. And are you doing a follow-up attack?
And second sword.
And you're rolling with the advantage, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That hits.
Now that I need to remind you, but I'm sure.
Oh, I've taken another 8.
Another 8? Okay. All right, it's not looking so good as you carve 2 slashes swoosh, swoosh, across the creature's body. Now, Valen, you're up.
Okay. Let's see if we can do this again. And I needed to make a wisdom save.
Okay. Wisdom save. The higher is a 14.
Damn, it's saved. I'm so useless this fight.
All right, and
You are never useless, Valen. Do not
Calvin,
think of
you're
yourself
up.
that way.
I'm going to stab it.
All right, give me an attack.
21.
21 hits. Lots of 21s tonight.
Deal 5 points of damage.
5 points of damage. Yes, you cut again, and it takes another 5 points of damage. And you see some more of the scale sort of break loose, and there's some blood just kind of pouring down its rippling pecs and abs now.
And then,
Oh no, he's hot.
Oh no, the lower half of the body of this Yuan-Ti he is ripped. He is jacked. He definitely does not skip legs day at the gym. He's a full package minus the serpent head.
And I'm gonna say, go get him, pork
Maybe
roll.
with the serpent head. I don't know. I'm not going to kink shame anyone.
But pork roll is feeling not so great considering he's at half of his hit points, and he's gonna miss.
Okay.
With advantage?
Yeah. Well, the highest roll with advantage was a 6 on the dice.
Yeah, that's fair. I
So-
mean, I rolled a 1 and then a 2 in a row, so.
The pork roll misses.
And what was your attack again?
I hit it for 5 damage.
You hit for 5. Sorry. All right. So that is Calvin's turn. Flip, you're up. And then Twid, you'll be up next if you want to be ready for your action.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with a vicious mockery. So I need it to make a wisdom save of 12.
Save of 12?
Yes.
Let's see. No, it fails.
It's gonna take a full 4 psychic damage. I'm just like, I mean, good legs, but I don't know. You just seem pretty evil, and that's kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah. So you say that, and you see it kind of visibly deflate, as though you have kind of hurt its ego, because like it's a serpent person, but it's it's always really admired its rippling abs. Twiddle, you're up.
Okay, Twit is still maintaining their hex, and is going to, this one's not on a doll yet, but just pull a diamond out of their bag.
Oh, okay.
And start just, twiddling it between their fingers, and it's going to start, burning like it's on fire a little bit, and Twit is going to cast Chromatic Orb.
Oh, okay, so you're using fire for Chromatic Orb?
Yes.
All right, so roll to hit as you power up this little tiny fireball in your palm.
22 to hit.
22 definitely hits as you sort of fastball it and slam it right into the Yuan T, and it sort of splashes across it. Roll damage for me, please.
That is going to be, let's see, math. 17 fire damage and 2 necrotic damage.
Okay, so as that washes over the creature, you see it sort of gives out a shriek, and it drops the scimitar as it scatters to the ground, and you realize that you basically hit it right in the face, and when you look, its eyes are scarred over and damaged, and it wobbles on its feet and then slams to the ground. It is, as far as you can tell, unconscious.
Thorn's gonna stab it once more just to make sure.
Yeah, so you go down and just stab the sword into it again, pull it loose, and you listen, it's not breathing, it's not moving.
Just checking.
Now you just got a dead snake person wrapped in a net.
Yay!
What's most important is for Twid, you feel the hex fade out, as though it no longer has a valid bead.
He's dead.
Calvin's gonna check on pork roll.
All right.
And then use an action to heal him.
Yeah, so
Heal.
you're commanding Porkroll to use his heal ability as your defender?
Yes.
Okay. So you see Porkroll sort of, the little eyes snap shut, and after a second, you can see some of the damage start to repair itself.
And that's his second one of the day.
As you do that and move out of the way, and Thorn, you move forward.
I was gonna say, in the moment, Thorn's gonna say, "No, I do believe it is all right."
And you hear, "Oh my God, that's so good!" And just if you all could just move out of the way, please. And after a moment, you see the vines sort of spread outwards as though opening like a curtain, and you can see Nettle. Who do you believe to be Nettle step out? Valen Verdant, about the same height as Valen, but very willowy, very thin. The clothes that they're wearing is a robe, very like the ones you see Naoko wear, but just left open to reveal that they underneath are wearing like a very simple, what seems to be like, would almost be a like tube top of leaves, and like this long flowing skirt. And she steps out of the bower of rose vines and says, "Oh my goodness, I was so worried. I didn't think anyone was going to come. I yelled at Naoko about a week ago, and I mean, our record is only 3 weeks, but she's a little absent-minded at the best of times."
Yes. Luckily, we came seeking her help, and she needed her workshop to do it. I have to admit I'm concerned about how long after she left did they show up.
And as you say that, she folds her arms over her and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Naoko didn't send you to find me. Naoko sent you to find her workshop."
Yes, I was going to invite you to come yell at her with me. Because I intend to side with you, this was incredibly stupid of her.
Well, I agree. This is not the first time one of Naoko's toys that she's brought back has caused problems. No. So about a week ago, we had one of our usual spats. She loves me to take all of my creations that I make down here in my herbarium and use them for all of her research. But God forbid I ask her to give me a little bit more space and time upstairs. She goes, you would think that the blooming had given her all of this space and kept none for the rest of us.
I know the type.
Definitely before this conversation, Flip will have purposefully dropped disguise self before stepping into the room.
Okay, so when you step in, you look like Flip. You don't look like Naoko.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So stepping in, she looks at all of you, and then she stops. She's kind of glancing her eyes across the party, and she goes, "Navir, is that you?"
Hi.
What are you doing here? I haven't seen you in forever.
Oh, I decided to try being a cleric for a little while, something new.
I like it. It looks good on you.
Oh, thank you.
Valen, do you know this person?
Well, I mean, I knew the name. I've heard the name Nettle before, but no offense, Nettle, but a couple Verdants take that name, so I didn't know if it was you.
Oh, I understand. I've been trying it for the last 30 years or so. Naoko's had a bad influence on me. It used to find it so much easier to deal with academics, but ever since I started working with Naoko, I'm just a lot more prickly than I used to be.
I mean, after meeting her, I could see why. She was a little... I mean, she's nice. She was nice, but...
You don't have to sugarcoat it.
Can we get back to Navir?
Yeah. Do you not use that name anymore? Is that an old name? Am I dead naming you?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm Valen now. Sorry. I changed it a little while ago.
I'm sorry. It's nice to meet you, Valen.
I'll turn to Calvin and say, usually, the Verdant, we don't really see names as being super permanent. So I figured when I became a cleric, it was time for, kind of a fresh start.
I completely understand.
Valen suits you.
Thank you, Thorn.
So, yes, the serpent people, right?
How long after the fight did they show up?
About 2 days ago.
And they brought the eyeball things with them?
Yeah. Oh, you mean those weird, gross scale things with the single eye?
The mind reader, yes.
Yeah. No. I was upstairs tending to some of my expanded projects when I ran out of room down here, and I heard this really weird crash. And when I went into Naoko's office, which I'm not supposed to do, I saw that she had left one of her experiments running. Probably when I threw her out, she didn't shut it down. The students aren't really great about cleaning up after themselves. You know how interns are.
Wait, so you were suggesting to me that she was running experiments on ardent scale artifacts when you had your fight, and she did not make a move up until now to attempt to re-access her workshop to shut it off?
Well, I mean, sure, we fight all the time. It's not that weird. And Naoko's always dragging some weird artifact from some corner of the...
I find it a lapse of judgment that she let a ritual circle open.
I mean, I don't know if that was her fault or if it was one of the interns' faults. I just know it was still on when I went in. And then one of those, she goes, that thing climbed out along with another, one of them that looked different, more human-like.
The
like,
Yuan Ti.
Yes.
That one is dead.
Yeah, no, I vaguely remember hearing about them. I'm glad to hear it's dead. Did you find the Arden Scale that was with them?
The what now?
There was an Arden Scale with them. He was tied up, though. He didn't seem like he was involved. Like, he didn't seem like he was friends with them. They pulled him through the portal just before they noticed me. And I booked it down here and sealed myself in.
We have seen no Arden Scale.
Oh, I hope he's okay. He looked pretty beat up when they pulled him through. They kept talking about how this was going to be a perfect place for a nest.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, see that one down there, and she points at the deceased Yuan Ti. He was trying to get to me, and my thorn vines have been keeping him out. I've been growing them over the course of the last day or so, the last few days. Thank goodness, by the way, that I had that many copies of plant growth memorized, or I would have been in real trouble. And that I had this particularly hardened variety of winter kept roses. And she like pets the rose bushes as she says that are hanging along the wall.
It is fortuitous. Remind me later to inquire about purchasing a few cuttings for our house.
Absolutely. I can provide you a nice discount since you saved my life.
Gorgeous and useful.
And she like turns to you and gives you a little wink. But yeah, they pulled the other Arden Scale through, who seems like he was a prisoner.
Any other rooms in this that we should be aware of? There was the room with the artifacts, the storage room and bedroom off of that. The main two rooms that we came through where the Nothics were in the entryway, and then the stairs down here. Is there anywhere else within the abode they could have put him?
There is a below the floor underneath Naoko's work desks. She has a like cubby that she keeps some stuff in. It could be in there. It's a little small for an full-grown Arden Scale, but
I doubt they were thinking of his comfort.
I'm gonna go check. And Twit is gonna run off.
Oh, just be careful. She left the circle might still be on.
Oh, we took care of the circle.
Oh, well, that's a relief. I keep telling Naoko that she needs to get better at cleaning up after herself, but God forbid she listen. And she won't let any of the cleaning staff in. The last time one of her servants tried to clean up, she threw a fit.
The one's gonna pat Porkroll. Porkroll close the sarcophagi for us.
And she looks around the room and she says, did it leave any of those eggs in here? It kept talking about how it wanted to leave its eggs down here because of all of the lights I had installed and how warm and wet I keep it.
I have seen no eggs, but
you should check and make sure.
Yeah, we're gonna look for eggs.
Give me an investigation check.
Eggs, eggs, eggs. All I want is eggs.
26.
17.
With the 26, you do find that there's a small clutch of the eggs that are hidden in the top little alcove.
Firebolt.
Yeah, so if it's a firebolt, you break the eggs that are left behind. And they're all sort of crisped and done when you're finished. You take a moment to look at them, and I will say you don't see any like very visible anatomy in any of them, so you feel like you caught them they're very fresh. You would guess. And then you're going upstairs, Twid.
Yeah, Twid. The second they heard there's like a little secret cubby area, hightailed it up.
Give me an investigation check to try to find the cubby now that you know that it's there.
15.
With the 15, you do find after a moment you have to push the desk out of the way, which is a little tough considering how short you are. You sort of get under the desk and like pick it up over your head and then just walk it away. Drop it back down, and what you do find is that there's a small, what's almost like a built-in recess into several of the wooden slats. And you push down, and it pops open. And when you push it open, you do indeed see that it was set into the ground for storage. And you can see tied up within it is indeed an Ardent Scale man. deep russet brown scales with these frills along the side, dressed in a simple plain white robe, no sleeves, so its arms are revealed. The robe's kind of cut tight towards it, and they end about mid-thigh. And it is several golden bands all along the arms, and it's got a beaten up face as though someone has just been wailing on its face regularly. One eye sort of swollen shut, like the busted lip. When it breathes around the gag that's in its mouth, you can see that a couple of the teeth inside that are normally like sharpened, very like fang-like. A couple of them are broken, and it looks up at you blearily.
It is going to take out Lucretia and like wave one of Lucretia's hands and go, "Hello."
You do so. The look in its eyes, like its eyes unglaze a little bit. It looks terrified. And it sort of like wiggles a little bit inside the small cubby it's jabbed into, like it's trying to get further away from you.
I'm gonna have started making their way upstairs to go after Twin because this is a bad idea.
If I untie you, are you going to try to kill me?
And you can hear it like around the gag in its mouth, like it's trying to talk.
Twin, nod your head yes, or shake your head no.
It looks at you for a second, sort of tilts its head to one side, and then after a moment, it just shakes its head no.
Okay. And Twid will take out a pair of shearing shears and, well, is it? Twid's not very big. Can Twid like reach down and cut the ropes?
Yeah, so it would take you a little bit of like maneuvering to get a good angle, but you can reach in and cut the ropes. You're sort of stretching a little bit.
Thorn is, but at this point, has just reached the room and is just watching.
Yeah. So you turn and you see the ardent scale, like it's a deep russet brown scale, so like a very deep coloration, being cut loose. And you can see that the poor guy looks like he's been wailed upon. There's like blood and what looks to be like spit and stuff like that in his robes that now like turn them to a much different color than the white they were originally.
Thorn is going to very purposely put their swords away and look at him. Can you walk?
I assume you're going to cut the gag away.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yes, I can walk, thank you. I believe most of my injuries are superficial at this point.
Do you require a healer? We have one within our members.
I would be greatly appreciative if you could provide me with healing services. And then he like steps up and he gives you a little bit of a bow, Thorn, and he says, I thank you for the courtesy you extend me, Ashahai.
Thorn will give them what I'm assuming is a very traditional Ashahai bow. I don't know what it would look like, if you have something in mind. But, of course, I do not hold the crimes of your ancestors against you.
I appreciate that. It is not always that I meet somebody across the battlefield that can be so calm in the face of the war we have.
I am considered a firebrand amongst my people.
I'm Twiddlemop.
And he like looks down at Twiddlemop and he has that same look on his face of slight like horror. And he goes, what is a Twiddlemop?
And this is Lucretia. And Lucretia's going to wave hi as well.
It is best to humor him. They are charming.
I owe you my thanks for saving me. I assume you've already dealt with the Yuan-Ti within the building?
Slaughtered.
Both the pureblood and the Malison?
And their nest of eggs.
And he like leans against the side of the desk a little bit, and you can see some of the energy goes out of him, and you can definitely see that like he's exhausted. As you look more closely, he has these rings where the scales under his eyes are sort of graying and look a little broken, like beaten.
Gutman's gonna give him a pat on the shoulder and give him 7 points of cure wounds.
As you do, he takes in a deep breath, and you can see the bags recede, some of the bruising on his face heals, and he goes, "Thank you. I'm surprised to see an Ashahai and a human working together on this. I'm not in Ashahai land. Am I amongst the humans?
Britannia.
Where?
Truehome.
I am not familiar with that.
Outside of the verdant weald, it is the neighboring kingdom. I fear you are far from home. Could you tell us what has happened?
Of course. I I apologize. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Shemesh, Serenity Keeper. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Would Thorn know the meaning of that title?
Serenity Keeper? I will say give me a history check. Anybody who wants to can give me a history check to see if they can identify or learn anything more about the title.
Joey knows the meaning of that title.
The question is Thorn?
Twid got an 11.
Ooh, 19.
Okay, yeah,
with 12.
Let's say you do. With 11, you would not, though, Twid. The Serenity Keepers are diplomats and a police force that work both internally within the Ardenscale kingdoms, or the Ardenscale city-states, and out in the world, representing the Ardenscale. They had their founding in an order that started during the migration, when they moved from their previous lost home of Vescanen to the new home.
Thorn about that. I am Thorn of the Yanasofra.
Well met. I appreciate that. I have faced a number of your people on the battlefield, and I have deep respect for their prowess. I am glad that we could be friends instead of enemies.
As am I.
I feel it rude to ask, but what is the dispensation of the war?
What does dispensation mean?
What's the war?
To my people, the war is not actively being fought. Although, as long as the Frost Maiden slumbers, we will not be at ease.
What do you mean, slumbers?
I have an odd question for you. What is the year?
And he will say the year, so that no one on the stream has to try to guess what my year, what the calendar convention is. It's about 500 years ago. It's about the middle of the war.
Oh dear.
Close. I will say when he tells you both the year and the date, you know it's about 6 months before the blooming or the flowering season that ended the war.
You may wish to sit down.
How long do Ardenscale live?
Not this long.
Ardenscale, live to be between 60 and 130 if they take care of themselves.
He should be
Some can get older. Some can get up to maximum is usually the 180 to 200, unless they're magic users that have found ways to extend their life.
He should be very dead.
So, how?
That would explain how the Yuan-Ti are still around. And Thorn will tell him the current year.
And you see him sort of look between all of you, and he reaches up, and you can see that there is one of the bands on his arm bears a number of glyphs along the outside of it, and right in the center is the name of Sarcanus, the god of the Ardenscale. But I won't make you roll for it because I will say that you would have learned this kind of
Grandma made sure I
it's
recognized
very
it.
much the sort of thing that every Asha High learns in school, so they know about the Ardenscale. And he presses his hand on it, and as he does, there's a small golden glow. And he says, "Could you please say that again?"
And Thorn will repeat the year.
And he looks down at the enchantment that glows around his hands and looks back at you. Oh no. Oh no.
Ooh, what does that do?
And he looks down at you in surprise, oh, you're back. It is a truth teller. It reveals to me whether or not someone is being honest with me.
Handy.
Many of us who are part of the Serenity Keepers make use of it. I have to ask, do the Yuan-Ti still exist? Do the Arcanophants still lead us?
No. Allow me to tell you the long version. It will be quicker than the short version.
Very well.
Not long after your last recollection, my lady was betrayed by Canyon, stabbed in the back with a poison knife, and laid to slumber until today. And in response, the Blooming took it upon themselves to end the war and enacted an event known as the Flowering Season, wiping out your home and changing it from a desert to a jungle. Your people left the continent.
The whole time you're talking, he keeps looking down at the band around his arm, and the golden glow on it stays completely steady the whole time.
The Arcanophants, those that were still living, were killed.
Including Kashar.
Especially Kashar. You are now led by the Serenity Keepers, among others. As far as I know, I admit your current politics are not my area of expertise.
That's more than any of us could have hoped for.
There are none of your number, to my knowledge, none of your number left who remember the war. And not as many of mine.
Well, the war might not be as over as we'd all hoped. If what you say is true, and I believe it is based on my divinations, a nest of the Yuan-Ti still exists. Kashar was hoping to breed a bigger army. During her conquests, she took over several human kingdoms, abducted the population, and began to experiment on them, thus creating her Yuan-Ti. The Serenity Keepers, we were a new order. We wanted to restore peace, logic, and reason to our people because we realized without compassion, our power could be used for great evil. I was sent to stop Kashar's production, destroy her ability to create more Yuan-Ti. We learned that her nest was being kept in an extra-dimensional space. We infiltrated it, and we triggered a magic that should have destroyed it, but it seems as though we've only been frozen. It is how she intended to store the Yuan-Ti, so they wouldn't need to be fed or cared for when they weren't at war. A cold freeze that would put them into a hibernative state.
And it seems opening this sarcophagi allowed.
Is the sarcophagi still here?
It is, although we have shut down the ritual that I suspect let you through, although I was not the one to cast it, I do not know.
And he looks over and he goes, it's that one there, correct?
Yes. It was open and active when we got here.
That would do it. We called these Aranu of Kashar.
How would one spell that if one were taking notes?
Aranu. The sarcophagus were meant to be able to be snuck into other cities or moved around easily. With the right magic, you could use them to access the nest and summon forth the Yuan-Ti. It would allow Kashar to discreetly move an army wherever she wanted them to go.
I don't know what the Ashahai equivalent of crossing oneself is.
Probably just holding your sword, to be quite honest.
You all see Thorn lay a hand on their sword. Frost Maiden, help us all.
You close the circle, though, correct?
Yes.
Good. They should not be able to escape so long as no one activates the magic. They were meant to keep the Yuan-Ti in as much as they were meant to allow them to be summoned.
We will have to have words with Naoko.
Is Naoko the one who did this?
The one who started the circle, yes. An archaeologist.
Not a Yuan-Ti, though.
Human.
I would be curious to know how she learned the correct spells to activate it.
You and I both.
Are there, and I apologize if there are not, are there any Ardent Scales representatives within the city? This Truehome?
Correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say no.
There is an embassy, a small, very small embassy.
There is a minor embassy on the other side of town. I can escort you there if you would like when we are done here.
I would be deeply appreciative, and if you could tell me a bit about the war. I'm heartened to hear that your people were able to successfully defend the Verdant. At the end, we had lost our purpose and our compassion.
I'm glad you can see that.
The Haranophants drove our people to do terrible things, but we chose to participate. My order, the Serenity Keepers, were started to change that. Do you know? Do they still exist? You said
the Serenity Keepers are in charge. I do not know exactly how it works. There are a few city-states on the other continent. They exchange power and control of the secret keeper of the Serenity Keeper so that one cannot grow too large. I don't fully understand its workings.
But
they are peaceful.
That's all we dreamed of. We wanted to change things. Once our nation was driven by our desire to master the arcane, build logic and reason, educate the people, but then the Arcanophants, they grew obsessed with power and experimentation. They no longer cared who was injured or changed by their magics. Entire villages were destroyed so that they could populate their armies with monsters, manticores, chimeras, and then eventually the Yuan Ti.
The Arcanophants no longer live, but I will warn you. Many of my kind are still around from that war, and until the Frost Maiden wakes, they will not look kindly upon you.
I appreciate your warning, and I understand. This betrayal is worrisome at best. I thank you, and I know I will have to spend a lot of time getting back up to speed, but if you could take me to my people, I feel I must report about the Yuan Ti's continued existence.
To mine as well.
Of course.
Twit is gonna pull on Shemesh. That was his name?
Shemesh.
Is gonna pull on his robe and go, excuse me.
Yes, small twiddle mop.
Do you know how to destroy that sarcophagus thing so we don't get more popping out?
I apologize. I'm a magic user and a cleric, but I'm not very experienced. You would need a more experienced Serenity Keeper. Most likely, you would need not just a keeper, but a Serenity Seeker to destroy something of that power.
I think as long as it remains dormant for now, we can seek that later.
Agreed. As long as no one summons it, it needs to be secured, but they can't use it from their side. It was meant to be as much a prison for them as anything else.
Thorn's going to look up. I suggest we speak with Naoko and then to the embassy. It's already been a long day and I do not see an end.
All right. And so I will say with that, we're going to pause there for the evening. Thank you all for joining us. Again, if you would like to, if you're enjoying the content here, we'd be great if you could give us a follow. That'll let you know when we stream again. Our next scheduled stream is next Sunday at 7:30. If you want to learn more about the campaign, we're going to be posting some new content all about the world of Obra that it's set in the next few days on our Twitter, so you can also give us a follow there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight, and have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.